We're good. All right, let's go. Okay, now what I'm looking at here is another version of what I've been running live, but it's not actually trading real money, so there's none of that confirmation from the brokerage that I actually filled. So let's look at those results. How funny is that? The total number of trades, 911. That should tell you something right there.
Nice.
All right, so this has once again been running for 29 days, 5 hours. Supposedly, right? Because this is based on historical data, right?
Yeah, all right.
All right, now, I'm going to make some changes to how the back testing works by format strategies, properties for all. I'll pull that over here.
I can't see the top of that. And that's on TradeStation you're doing this?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Yes. All right, so I'm going to go to the back testing, and I'm going to say instead of fill when the A trade occurs at the limit price or better, fill the entire order when the trade price exceeds the limit price. This is where we crashed, if you remember. So now instead of trying to get 2 ticks, I'm going to have to get 3 for this thing to fill. So, you know, the 911 trades are basically, remember the old UTS thing that, you know, RPM was, you know, trading so fast because it was first fill stuff, right? So let's change that and see what the results look like. So I'm going to hit OK. And I'm closing it. It's off screen, but now it's going to recalculate.
Okay.
Give it a second.
I'm watching the total number of trades.
Yeah, it'll change. There's your losing strategy.
I didn't change yet on the side, but it will.
You guys want to see a losing strategy? Here's one.
All right, there you go. So the net profit of the biggest, net profit of the percentage of largest loss. Net profit, so what does that mean? Net profit of percent of largest loss.
Yeah, look at the top though. Your total net profit now is almost $3,500 in the hole.
Yeah.
Right? And that's requiring that other fill. And let me show you on the chart why that occurred.
And what was that other fill?
The other one was just touch it. Just touch the price.
All right, so this is more of a slip. This is more of a slippage.
Well, you know, you're asking for every single bid or ask to be taken out at your fill price for this thing to say, okay, yeah, it's filled. It actually traded beyond it, right?
Yeah.
So real life's going to be better than this. But this should be a cause of concern, and
definitely. I'm getting concerned all of a sudden.
You should be. Now, looking at this, I'm showing the chart here, just, you know, period from 8 p.m. to now. And this thing with this new setting made a long here, got its profit target, and you can see how it had to exceed it for it to fill. Likewise here, it had to go below it for it to fill. Here's a short, you know, it had to go above and below it. You know, here it's short currently, not out yet. So, but let me go ahead and change back those settings so you can see the difference. Format strategies, properties for all. I'm going to go to automation. And I'm going to go back to, wait a minute, back testing, sorry. Fill entire order when trade occurs at the limit price or better. Okay. Give that a few seconds to fix. And I have it on my side. I don't know if you see it yet, John, but now you'll see instead of there being just one long there, it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 trades, where with the other condition there was only 1. So you see that, and this is why it's important in these hyper strategies to look at it this way.
Yeah.
And instead of being 1 or 2 shorts, I forget now, I think maybe 2, it had 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see how, you know, the one touch thing is an issue. So it went from being a, you know, what looked like a beautiful strategy to one losing money. But TradeStation's pretty cool because they have an actual setting that I think is better in all to show this, and it's I'm going to show you to you now. It's properties for all again under strategies, back testing. So instead of doing the touch or the full through, now I'm going to say fill the order at the limit price or better if, I don't know, 100 cars go through at that level. And I pick 100 because right now in the ES, you're looking at 65 on the ask side or bid side and 27 on the ask side. So at night, you're going to get closer fills there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now during the day, sometimes there's 2,000 there. So maybe let's put 250. Let's see how that does. That's quite a few trades because a lot of these orders get canceled and replaced. So you move up the line some.
Well, this seems like a very important part of this whole process is really getting your your overall slippage and your
Well, it is on these strategies that trade so frequently and take just small bites.
Yeah, definitely.
Strategy alert.
Oh, the nursery again. Another profit. Oh. All right. So now let's see what we got here. Now we're up 2,000 with that setting. So I believe this is probably more consistent with what you would actually see. And instead of 900 trades, it's more like 500.
Now, you think how much of that is commissions?
Well,
Do we have that broken down?
Yeah, it's right there, down at the bottom. Now, of that, okay, in this particular case, the way this is written, you make 2,100, and the broker gets 2,500. So they make more money than you.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that nursery again. That's why you have to run these things real time for a while and see how they do, and then monitor them with you present.
Yep.
Let me show you some features of the program or the code. One, let me go to the so obviously these settings become very important. They would be far less important on something like that Stericycle that I originally talked about.
Yep.
But these highly leveraged futures contracts, one tick's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you this: there's a way to actually print out what you actually did, and I'm going to drag you over there, and you can see it. And I'll show you the code on this too. I have this set right now to tell me at the end of every session, which is at 4:15. What happened that day. And the first date it reportedly traded was the 19th. And you can see it had so many wins and so many losses and so many even trades. And once again, because
doing that on the Commodore 64 now.
Yeah, I know. Well, unfortunately, I would have actual real data from the last 3 days because I actually traded it. And unfortunately, this is now backtesting data because it lost what I really did, right?
Yeah.
That's why I was so, pissed off when it crashed on me. But I can tell you that it made on Friday, which is what, the 12th, it made 50 trades and no losses. And then what was Monday, which is it had a good day as well. It didn't have quite 57. It had less than that. But it didn't have any losses, or one loss maybe. Now Tuesday, yesterday it had 2 losses and ended up losing about I think $280 total on the day, real trades. So there is a difference between what happens in real time and what happens in these reports. Right?
Yeah.
All right, but let's go ahead and look at some of this code and some of the features I built into the code that will be helpful for people writing their own codes.
All right, let's
I think
walk us through that. Walk us through where do you even start with that?
Yeah, this is probably the last major thing I probably need to cover just for tonight. It was it's trying to be an introductory thing for.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's rounded out nicely.
I have it written in here as 10,000, because that way it's basically there's no limit what you're going to make in a day. But when I actually run it, I say if I make $1,000 in a day, just stop trading, be done with it, and wait till the next session start, which is 16:30 Eastern time. Then I have what I call max pain, which I have set at -500, meaning if I've closed trades that are have me net -500 or worse, shut down. So what this does is it lets me sleep at night, because if there's some major problem over in the Middle East or God knows what, this, if a market started to crash like the flash crash day, it would keep getting stop loss, and then it would immediately counter trend again. So it could make a cascade of negative trades in a row. So this will actually stop the strategy from trading once it's lost that certain amount.
Okay.
Then I have something called extensive reporting, and it's set to false by definition, but if you put it to true, that blue and white blue background white font will print every time a trade closes, and it'll update how many trades, what your profit was, yada yada. And then I have another thing that says, do you want to hold over the weekend? And what I did was I built a thing in where and I'll show you the code, where I figured out what day of the week it was, so it had to be Friday. And then if you're in a position and it gets to the closing time, which is written in here as 5 minutes to 4, but actually the one I have it running on, I set it to 16:14, so that gives it the 16:15 bar to get out, so a full minute to get out. And what it does is if you're in a position, it just at market takes you out, and that way you don't have the problem with having big gaps over the weekend. And you
so this is your key. You're making your key up here. The inputs for session profit calculations is your key, and then where do we put these? And later on, we're going to see these.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is all to do with maximum pain, which is max loss, and then what your goal might be for the day, and whether you want to hold over the weekend. So these are inputs. So you're allowed to actually write true when it's actually applied to the chart.
Okay.
All right. Now I also watched a video by this Todd, I don't know, Michael something or other, about certain periods he likes to trade the ES and other periods he likes to stay away from it. And what I did was I created up to 6 periods where it would be okay to enter a trade. It has nothing to do with exits, just enter, where you could set it where it wouldn't trade certain periods. And right now I have it defaulting where it starts at midnight and goes to the next midnight. So basically it's wide open the way it's inputted now. And these being all zeros, it doesn't affect it. But if you put values in here, then you can actually make it not take positions during certain periods. And I found it interesting. I optimized it just one period to see when was the optimal time to start trading the ES. And John, it came out to 3:15 in the morning.
Oh, yep.
So what that tells me is trading into the European Open is a loser's bet. You're better off letting it settle and then start counter trending, which I found that to be interesting. And that's looking back a number of days, what have you, right?
Yeah.
All right, so now variables. These are things that are calculated within, right, the strategy.
Okay.
So, it counts those bars since the high and the bars since the low. Remember that indicator I showed you, whichever one's more active, right? And then you have the highest high, which is set at 100,000, because you want it to be much higher than the first calculation. And the lowest low is 0. So until the array actually figures it out, you go ahead and start to trade, because there's a statement: if highest high and lowest low are above 0, go ahead and start trading.
Yeah.
Right. Here's the variables for the session profit calculations. And it's just, number of trades, wins, losses, evens. What's the profit for today? What's the beginning equity in the account at the beginning of the session? This is the total trades. This is the net profit. And then I have a switch here called OK to continue trading, right? And that's the one that says, if I haven't maxed out my losses or made my goal, it's okay to trade. And you'll see we check that in the actual coding.
Okay.
And then the OK to enter is my switch that looks at the time periods to see if it's OK to enter. So I have two switches, OK to continue trading and OK to enter, right? And then I have a weekday variable because I want to count, I want to know what day of the week it is. I want to exit on Fridays, right? And then I have my array, right? I got to establish what my highs and lows are, right? I want to establish the lows and the highs, right? Now, here's where I want to look at whether it's within the time periods I'm allowing, right? So I'm saying if time is greater than beginning time 1 and time is less than ending time 1, or, in other words, if it's in this allowed period or this allowed period or all the way down to 6, if the time is anything that's allowed, then it's OK to enter is true. Else, OK to enter is false. So this is your time check right here. This tells you whether you're in a spot that you're allowing it to take entries.
All right.
Pretty basic, right?
Yeah. Well, so these could be up to these times are going to be detailed underneath again too.
Well, what I'm saying is that the way I wrote it, you have up to 6 periods you could allow trading.
Okay.
Right. Let's say you don't want to trade until like 3 in the morning, but then you also don't want to trade after 7 a.m. because, there's often news at 8 or 8:30. So, you might find out that, staying away from news periods is smarter for you.
Sure.
Once again, that functionality is in there. I haven't made use of it, but
all right, that's what I'm saying. It's not active unless you want to make it active.
Correct.
You could have it, if time is between 8:30 and 4:15, true. And you could trade the whole time.
Okay, now we're getting into the calculations for the session profit and loss.
Now, when this is all written out, this is a very basic question, but I've never done this before. Do you have to write each of this? I mean, is there a template that it gives you?
No template, but once you write it, you can save it and you can send it to your thing and just import it. You wouldn't have to type it all out. But I had to write this line by line. But
the green words represent what again?
Okay, when you see a double slash,
yeah,
that's just notes to yourself. So okay. I like to take the different sections of the code and label them. So when I go back to them, like that Insta strategy that I had showed you earlier.
Yep.
I have it all broken out into sections so that I was able to go back and remember what the heck I did, 5 years ago. And it was helpful that I did that. When you're actually working on it, you understand it clearly.
Yeah.
And you get away from it for a while, and you go back, you're like, huh, what did I do here? So it helps you, make notes to yourself, in essence. Just like in TradeStation coding, like this OK to continue thing, I actually type out OK to continue is true. But if you just say if OK to continue, you don't even need the equal true. It already knows that. But I like to put it in there for my own ability to understand what my thought was on that strategy.
Gotcha.
All right, so this basically looks at the calculates your profit for the day. All right, and then now it says, okay, if the profit for today is greater than max pain, in other words, it's greater than the minus 500 in that example. So if you're at minus 450 and you're setting minus 500, it'll take that last trade. Now if that trade goes against you, then you're going to be over the 500 and it will shut down for that session. Right. So that that's a safety feature, particularly if you're running something and you're off to work or you're sleeping or whatever. You have the ability to it'll shut itself down.
Okay.
And I haven't written it, but I think it's probably a good idea because sometimes we already show that it'll have trades it never got because of the way that the data works versus real trades. There's a way to actually go out and query the TradeStation servers for your actual account balance, and you can get the beginning of day account net worth and then the real-time net worth, and you can subtract the two and get a value for what your account has actually changed.
Yep.
So I would build in, if I ever left this unattended, I would build in a second check where I go out to the server and I say, hey, what's my net change for the day? And if it's over a certain amount, shut down again. But now you see how you do it by this switch called OK to continue. It wouldn't be that hard to do. But if you notice, all these switches are calculated before we ever get to the orders. Because you want them to, it calculates from top to bottom. So you want to have these switches calculated before you get to where the orders commands are, right?
Yep.
All right, so the weekend thing, what I did here was, if there's a period reset, in other words, you switched, and the date minus the date 1 bar ago, when you see it in brackets, it's 1 bar ago, is greater than 1. What that means is it's a weekend. Because the bar that ends on Friday has a date, 2 days in the past from the Sunday night open. So basically at that point, the weekday becomes 0.
Okay.
Now if the date minus the date 1 bar ago is 1, that means we've just gone through midnight on a day that the contract is continuing to trade. So by Sunday night at midnight, it would be equal to 1. And then it would march on up to 5 on Friday. So now I can easily make a statement that says, if my weekend hold is false, in other words, I've said I don't want to hold over the weekend, and my weekday value is 5, meaning Friday,
yep,
and the time is greater than or equal to my exit time, then begin. So now everything under that, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, first of all, you want to turn off your OK to continue. Because you don't want it to trade anymore, right?
Yeah.
All right?
Yep.
Now, if your market position is, and see that when it's in green, it's a redundant word. You don't even have to write it, but I put it in to make it read better. Not equal to 0, then begin. So what it says here, if market position is 1, meaning it's you're long, then sell, and you give it a name. I call it end of week long exit. Next bar at market. So it just gets you out, and it won't trade again because you've turned off. Your OK to continue is now false. And you see, it's the last thing that's calculated before you get to the orders.
Gotcha.
Right? And vice versa. If you're short, buy to cover, next bar at market. So this is a way for you, without even being there, to get out of your position before the weekend. So I think that's kind of cool myself. But.
Yeah.
And then we have the orders, which I'll flip right through, and then we have extensive reporting, right? And what this does is it prints that output for us, and I just called it profit today and losers today. I mean, really, it's really profit this session, because really the sessions are covered more than one day because they start, the evening before. But basically, it keeps track of that, and you can actually see it in that printout, and it's kind of cool from that standpoint. So there's a couple good features. One, you're limiting time. 2, you're limiting your losses for the day, and if you want to have a goal and have it stop trading. And there's some logic to that. Let's say, this is a counter trend strategy. It's hoping you're seeing the market, drift between 2 points, right? We just keep, clipping away, clipping away. Well, let's say you make your goal by, 1:30 in the afternoon. Well, wouldn't it be nice to just shut down and stay away from some of that, hour of power or the hour of the crooks,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you put that right in.
Yeah.
Cool. All
Yeah.
right. So, excuse me. Did you get down to? So we're at the point here of reporting. All right. So that's that's a lot to code in there. And Barker has a question in the room. Basic question. I modified the code in TOS for individual studies, and this code looks to be very unique. Would any of or most of the trading platforms understand the code that you had there?
I have no idea. I'm not being facetious. I really don't. I mean, I've only worked with Easy Language within one platform. I mean, I've never been on another platform.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just say that I've just.
Well, we got it set up on mine. I mean, then we just isn't there a way of? I mean, Easy Language converted over.
I do know this to answer the question to the best of my ability. I get Stocks and Commodities magazine, and a lot of code is written in there, right?
Yeah.
Jesus. By the way, this is the nursery.
Wow. Wow, look at that.
I don't know if it's real or not, but.
Well, what's your slippage on that one? Because he's just
actually, I'm seeing funny behavior. I'm seeing some really huge gains
largest
here.
winning trade 72,000.
Yeah, something's wrong there. Wouldn't that be something?
I would love to go to bed and to wake up to that.
I did a Control R to refresh the screen and see if I get some different value here. It's telling me it doesn't have enough data for inside bar back testing, but it always does that. So look at that. Suddenly I've lost 7,000.
Uh-huh.
But here's the problem here, though, John. I know these aren't optimized. Oh, it's also got pending data. So, basically, I lost my settings when I crashed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were looking pretty solid.
Well, this was back testing to a certain point, right?
Well, yeah, they're all set to a date.
Yeah.
In other words, that Wednesday before the rollover. So basically a month's time. But like I said, I have no idea, what settings I had before, and I really wish I had backed up all my stuff before the show, knowing that sometimes it crashes. But no, I was going to say I noticed in Stocks and Commodities magazine that somebody will come out with an article and talk about certain indicators they've created or strategies, and then back in the magazine it'll show you the code for a lot of the platforms. There's easy language. There's
absolutely. I love
4 or 5 or 6 of them. So this stuff will work. You just have to just set it up the proper way. For example, I had a variable starting with a numeral that I tried to import into multi-charts, and it wouldn't take it, even though they're both, quote, easy language. So there's subtle differences. I had to change the naming of it to allow it to what they call compile or TradeStation is. Wow, there goes the ES. Maybe I'm glad I'm not short. Well, I hope I gave you some food for thought.
Well, absolutely. We have to continue with this. I want to get together with you and just to because I still need to really understand, how to just back test this. I want to be able to watch it. I want to be able to show it on the screen in the future. So maybe we could do that. Maybe we could do that tomorrow at a point, or Friday.
Yeah, Friday I'm going to be working all day.
Okay.
And then tomorrow I got a new case with a new surgeon that I'm excited about, so that's a good possibility. Plus, I won't be available till November to work on this stuff with anybody, really. I mean, I could do a little bit in the evenings here and there.
Yeah.
But
I'll get Stan on. I just remember that I just have to get him at the right time.
Yeah, he won't necessarily know, how to put the inputs in.
No.
But I actually gave this a fair amount of thought, John, as far as members or even visitors that want to get some help with their either setting up their trade station or using automated trading strategies and how to set them up properly. I mean, I put out in the members forum, I think it had to be June, some code, and I mean, it didn't go that far because people just don't know how to do it and they don't set it up right, and I worry that people are going to, basically make mistakes and lose money, and then they get turned off on it, and it's really great if you're in a position whereby you can't be in front of the monitors.
Yeah.
So from that end, I thought it would probably be better for my time and for whoever I'm trying to help, for me to actually do some tutoring on a fee basis.
Yeah.
And what I could do is set up some kind of an hourly package, and then they don't have to use it all at once, but they could at least prepay for a certain amount of time, and I can actually go into their machine like I did with yours with the remote control and set things up for them and show them how to do it. And that would at least put me in a position whereby I can donate. Put the right amount of time towards helping them out, and then having them vested in it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So
what I did was I created a Comcast email address for this, and it's gasbot@comcast.net. Net. Gasbot@comcast.net. And basically, people are interested in getting some help. I'm happy to do it. I'm not talking about the question here or there, but I mean the last time I got involved with helping somebody that was new, I ended up 90 minutes on their computer, and they were saving strategies as indicators, and they just basically had no idea. And I feel like and I give you the same advice, John, I gave this individual, is that don't be just jumping in with both feet until you really understand how this thing works.
Yeah.
You're just asking for trouble, and then you get burnt out. You lose money, and then the bots suck, and I don't want to do it. And basically you just didn't give it the right. You didn't understand it enough to get it to work right for you.
Sure. No, everything starts in the beginning. So I mean, it's people have to start at one point. And the basic back testing, the basic strategies, I think is great. And everyone really has to do their homework on their own. And then you offering your services, gets people over those humps, which should be used.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not putting myself out there as an expert on easy language. I'm not, an expert on the TradeStation platform, but I've got a lot of time under it. And I have a fair amount of knowledge. And for somebody that's just getting started, or been dabbling in it, I could advance them quite a bit down the path.
Absolutely.
But it really, John, has to be one-on-one, and it has to be a situation whereby I have skin in it, they have skin in it. I get something a little bit for my time, and they benefit from my expertise. So.
Yeah, it should be that way. All right. Well, I need to get the information, and then we'll post it on the site, and then keep people referring back to it. And like I said, I'll be using it, so you should. For people out there who want to continue to follow up, and it's good to have you just around.
Well, that's cool. We didn't really stop for questions, and we still have some members starting to post a few things. Let me try and get a few questions answered. People are kind enough to hang around through all our technical garbage. The question is, have you tried triggers on indicators such as RSI or stochastics? All that can be done very simply, once you get a feel for it. And what I've showed tonight, there is some indicators built into the ladder, as well as obviously the momentum. We're using that in momentum weight. So yeah, I mean, and I've tried many different things. These particular strategies I'm running on the ES are more based on it's kind of like a Bollinger Band, if you will. I mean, there are some limits. But it's not smooth, So in a way, I like it because since I'm looking for such small profits, it works integrally. Each integer move, each tick move is immediately there. There's no delay with this thing. You just basically what you're saying is, and FT would probably agree with this, is that what you're seeing is you're looking for those extremes. Like right now, the ES is trading up around 57.75. If you look at the volume, it's all below it another 3 ticks. So all I'm doing is trying to get in and get back to that acceptable price level, and get my small profit and move on.
Yep. All right. Well, yes, you did a great show tonight. Oh, you want to take some questions?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're still not, not even midnight. Some of these RPM we get going. Next thing you know, it's the next day.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, if you guys have questions, let me check the Twitter feed here just to make sure this.
I mean, in a way, some people don't even do this. So they're watching the baseball game or something else, and
It all helps. It's great to know that people are out there doing it. It makes you think about what the market's really about. It's great to see the results, even though they're not. Maybe some of them are live, some are not live. It's with all the disclaimers out there. Of course, we also know. I think we all know that these things are not. You have to. You have to have a little respect for a bot and understand it's a process. Not everything's going to be working out, but the knowledge of doing this is important.
All right, so Madman, we did cover that earlier. If you use the setting in your properties for your strategy to send your stop orders directly to the broker, if you go down, your stop orders are already there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Porter Clan's question is, How do you arrive at your ratio of trade size to initial capital requirement? Yeah, that's something that the performance report itself spits out. I don't pay much attention to it. I mean, I know how much cash I need to buy 1 or 2 or 3 cars, so it's pretty easy for me. It is a whole new thing, though, compared to what, manually trading, I can tell you that.
Yeah. It could be a drug. It could not end up in a van down by the river.
I think we had over 450 there going for a while, so we did have some interest.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They're drifting off now, but I don't blame them.
It's getting late.
Yeah, I have to leave the house at 6:30 tomorrow morning.
Okay. Let's see, what am I doing here?
Lear wants to know if it can trade stocks and futures and options. It can trade everything. However, there's a lot of spread in some things, and trailing stops may burn you, like options, for example. You might want to trade with limits. Big Ugly says, very interesting. Been trying to code TOS the whole time. I guess during the show he's been trying to code. I don't know what he means the whole time.
Well, what do you think, I guess? Is this the future that you see yourself and you're getting involved in this for more, more than the average person? Are you seeing more and more people turn to automated trading? Do you think that there's a lot of trades being, a lot of bots out there running this market?
Well, when I started running these things that, a trade would fill in a second, which, some of these ES trades do, I started feeling like I was a high-frequency trader. But what they're doing, they're moving right on the exchanges to save those nanoseconds. So I'm not doing that at all. That's just my fantasy. But, it is sort of neat to, make 50 trades in a 24-hour period, which is done on on 2 different sessions live. And, I don't have to stress over it. I don't have to rush and get an order in. And it's all just done. And then, I'll sit here and I'll see the thing, have a ridiculously low order or high order in, and I'm thinking that's never going to fill. 10, 15 minutes later, all of a sudden the market action's up there and it fills, and I think to myself, man, that bot was patient and smart because it waited. It waits for the market to come to it. It doesn't do it the other way around, which is something that it's hard. Is you're sitting there and you think, oh, the market's going, I'm missing it. You're much better off waiting.
What would you use to trade off candlesticks? What would you use to trade off?
Madman, candlesticks are nothing but a visual representation of price action. So basically, in the code, you use price, and then what you want to do with it.
Yeah, so if you were looking for a reversal candle, you would just write that out as code. Meaning,
well, I did go to a paid conference down in Plantation where TradeStation has, man, they have these rooms of servers. I took a peek in there. I mean, they're just row after row after row after row. I can't imagine the redundancy, but that was actually pretty impressive. But the guy handed out an indicator that paints. They call them paint bar studies. It actually paints the Chinese, like doji and this and that. It actually highlights the bars based on what it is. So the language is written, and if you want to trade off, candlestick patterns, it's there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you a good example. One of our moderators who isn't around as much anymore was talking about the Ikimucho charts. So I went to the forums of TradeStation, and I went ahead and I don't even know where my Procaster is. Anyways, I went to there it is. I went to the forums and I found, I just did a search and some guy had saved it all as an easy language, and I just went ahead and inputted it, and boom. Within minutes I had this beautiful Ikimucho chart that I didn't have to write. Somebody just put it out there, and boom, there you go.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm not sure what you're seeing online. I lost my little green boxes.
No, I see it.
Yeah. So, that was something that, was just out there in the forums, and all I had to do was be a TradeStation user, and boom, I had it. That's a daily, by the way. It's on eBay at the moment. Yeah, Barker, you're asking a good question. You have to decide whether you're writing a strategy, an indicator, or a show me, whatever it is, because there's different rules for what's allowed and what isn't allowed within that document.
This is really when you come down to when they say language, you have to remember it is a language. So you have to learn from the the different parts of the language that make up the words and what it means. I mean, you have to really learn all this first.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt that, like for example, you know how NC Dave likes to take multiple cars, and then once he makes his first profit level, he likes to move his stop to break even. Well, after a while, I went ahead and wrote that. I was actually working with a guy he used to go by hedge post in the room. He was trying to trade futures. I didn't even have a futures account at the time. This is maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And he was just asking for help. We ended up spending days on it. And, basically I was able to write the code that said, basically when you start with 2 cars and your first profit target hits, i.e. now you're down to 1 car, then move your stop to break even. And boom, there it worked.
Yeah.
But, it sounds simple, but it took a little while to figure out how to write it. And half the time when you write it, you're like, man, that was easy. Why didn't I think of that? But, you pull your hair out when I remember a member was asking, I can't get these orders to fill during the bar. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? I just typed in simply, interbar order generation equals true. The guy came back with an F-bomb. F this, F that, I'm so stupid. Why didn't I think of that? I've been days trying to get this to work. I just cracked up.
Wow.
But one little thing, and it won't run.
You have some of these strategies in the blog area, members blog area, right?
I do.
So that's someone asking, a big ugly.
Yeah, they're under
platform. I don't know if there's any TOS strategies, but again, also, I mean, I wonder if there's a converter. I don't know what language TOS uses, or if they recognize. Lear said they don't recognize easy language.
That's right. Hedge Post had the hedge bots. I remember. But it's funny when you go and help somebody else like that. You think, well, why waste your time? Well, I learned helping him, so it was to my benefit. Just like when I worked with the multi-charts.
Yeah.
I was able to show some optimizations. Remember that 3D thing that I rolled around?
Yep.
All right, that should do it. So what you have here, John, is this is the results of an optimization put to a 3D rendering.
Yep.
So what you're looking at here, you're looking at the look back, all right, on this percent retrace. And you can see the range of results is somewhere around, way over here in the corner, you're seeing maybe as little as 2,000. And up here, you're seeing, results as high as 8,200. But clearly you can see there's a sweet spot around 14, 13, 12 for the look back on that particular chart. Right?
Yeah.
Then you can rotate this way, and now you're looking at the floor, and it goes down from 3 all the way down to 1 or so. And you can see again there's a plateau, a nice sweet spot in there around 2 to maybe 1.7, and then it really falls off. So what that tells you is that there's enough movement in the ES in this case that you really want to get your floor. You want a decent profit before you jump off. Because if you get your floor too low, you'll constantly be making smaller amounts. So you need to give it some time to get up there. Maybe it doesn't quite get to your profit target, like I said earlier, but you want a high enough floor so you make decent money off the trade. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Actually, I have one. I have one other one saved. And this one is we're looking at the how much of the underlying asset do you want to use for the caret. And you can see when it's too small, you're actually losing money. The watermark here is 0.
Yep.
So this is all negative here.
Yep.
And then it rapidly jumps up. At some like 1%, because don't forget it's adding that to each close of the previous bar. And then it sort of waffles down, and then you're basically, flat. So it's really easy to see where you want to be. This is your sweet spot right here. And then now looking at another criteria, which in this case is the multiplier. This is I didn't talk about it, but I have that exit strategy where it gives it a much wider berth, 70% to begin with, and then every succeeding bar it subtracts that from the number 70 until you get down to the minimum trailing amount of 5%. But then I said, well, gee, if you're on a longer time frame chart, maybe you want to drop it faster than just one value per bar. So I put a multiplier in there, and then I optimized that from 10 down to 1. And looking at this, it's clear that 1 is actually worse, and you really want to get up there around 5 or so before to maximize. So you really want that percent to drop off, a little faster than just 1 per bar, at least on this particular optimization. But you can see right there exactly, what works best.
Yeah, that's a great little tool.
Yeah, it is. Now, I mean, TradeStation has this in a 2D, but this is a nice feature for
multi-charts. Yeah.
And the other thing multi-charts does is it uses your entire core for optimization, which really speeds it up. But it actually grabs a little too much of the processor. So, for instance, if I tried to optimize using multi-charts and broadcast, it would never happen. I mean, just listening to your station, the audio gets super choppy because the processor is being maxed.
Yeah.
Now, Stan told me when I talked to him that you can set in the registry a limit on how much the program will use the core. But I mean, I like the feature because you can spend a long time waiting for optimizations. That their optimizations run way fast. That's really a real plus for multi-charts.
Yeah.
Find 3 fractals as your references. Wow.
Yep. Let's see here, 458 here. Market's getting a little pop there. I'm looking at this chart. And I said, "Oh my God, what's wrong with this chart?" And I have it on the 800 tick chart.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that moves pretty slow at night.
Yeah. I was looking pretty good right now. Yeah, no, I've been looking through this platform while I was following you too, Gas. So it definitely helped me a lot today. The show.
Well, good.
I appreciate your time, taking the time.
No problem. I hope I piqued enough interest that people take the time to.
No, definitely, and again, I'll definitely promote. We'll talk about this tomorrow. In your email, where you're willing to help people out and tutor. Kind of a little tutor service to get people started in automated coding, basically with easy language. So you open up a Gasbot at Comcast.net.
Comcast.net, yeah.
Gasbot, Gasbot. And
basically what I'm trying to do is try and advance people along faster than they would just muddling through. I mean, that's how I got there, but
That's important. That's we wish we all had that someone that that we could refer back to and has gone through the issues and be able to, like you said, your friend said couldn't figure out what was wrong. You came in there and fixed it right away.
Yeah, it's funny how what sometimes just perplexes you for the longest time, somebody else can go, "Oh, just do that," and you're like,
that happens to me all the time.
you're like, "Oh man, I'm an idiot,"
I have it all the time. It's right in front of you, but you're looking at it too much. All right.
Yeah.
Well, save this last section, Gas.
Yeah, I'll get them up to the RPM. The files are too big for me to save the live stream. I think I have a 5-minute limit, but Paul's a producer, obviously, so
Yeah,
I use a site called DropSend where I can put the files there because they're too big to send.
Yeah.
They're too regular email. Although maybe since I broke this down to 3 parts, maybe it won't be so bad.
Oh, either way, just use it the way. As long as we get it, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
So at least by the weekend, for sure it'll be there. Probably Friday. What's tomorrow? Thursday. Probably by Friday, anyways.
All right.
But like I said, I'm going to be traveling, so at this point in time, I'm throwing this out there, and people are going to have to. Unfortunately, it's going to be November before I'm really available to help.
Okay. Well, we'll see you in the room tomorrow.
All right, man. Thanks for the time and.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gas. I am so happy that we got doing this. I would love to do more of these. Just to bring it on to the next level. Maybe but again, we don't want to do too many because your time is valuable.
Yeah, well, at least at this point, I hope I got some people either more interested or interested that in essence they can. There's a lot to do. They're very powerful. Easy language commands and a lot of things that people have done as out there in the domain. You save time and I was talking to one of the easy language help guys, and really nice guy, and his comment was, you know what, there's far too little automated trading going on. There's just far too little.
What do you think about getting an easy language guy on the show? That would be kind of cool. Just give us a basic rundown of easy language.
Yeah, I'm not sure what what we have as far as members that do that. I thought about actually.
Well, I'm saying from anything. Then we got a TLS guy on.
Right. Well, I thought about before the show. I thought about calling TradeStation and saying to them, hey, I'm going to be doing this show. I'm going to be talking about easy language. Do you want to have somebody there to maybe add some content to what I do? And I just never called them. I will say this though, if anybody is interested in the TradeStation platform and is thinking of opening an account, if they mention my name, and don't say Gas, it'll confuse them, but it's Jim Frazier, I believe I get some kind of candy, like I don't know, some free trades or something. So there is some referral system. So if you're thinking of going to TradeStation and I piqued your interest, or you could just mention that. I think I get a little something.
Yeah. Perfect. I'll put a good word in for you too.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Gas, I appreciate it. I want to get home. We'll have an early day tomorrow, and my butt is gone flat.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I'm not actually going to be around this weekend, so maybe if I get some immediate questions over like Saturday or so, I might be able to at least answer some simple things.
All right.
But as you can see, John, nothing's really that simple. It gets pretty involved pretty fast.
Yeah.
No kidding, right?
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. I could tell by the way you're definitely involved in this now, and it's something that you've piqued a lot of people's interest, because your interest is definitely piqued.
Well, to me, in a way, it's a puzzle. I want it to do something, and I got to figure out how to do it. And when I get it done, there's a certain satisfaction, a certain, ultimately, hey, that was kind of clever how that, I figured that out. It's like how did I figure out what Friday was? And then later I found out there's actually a reserve word called day a week. I didn't have to do that math at all, but I created it on my own, and ultimately, that bus has already been built, but I didn't know it, so I ended up, writing it myself. But I get a little satisfaction from that.
Yeah.
And when it all comes together and actually makes money, wow.
Yeah, there's nothing better than a feeling. I mean, that's a great feeling right there.
I mean, when I took, I think it was Friday, I think it was. Thursday. It took 50 trades with no losses. I was so excited. I can't tell you. I mean, that was just wow.
All right.
All right, buddy.
All right. Have a great night. Everyone have a great night. I want to throw it. Should I take over on this side?
Yeah, I'll stop broadcasting, and you'll be back. Put on some music for tonight.
I will. I'll put on some good stuff for you. I actually have a song lined up for you.
Oh, great. Jumpin' Jack Flash is a gas.
That's really good. I think you'll like this one.
Okay, cool.
All right, man.
All right.
I'll wait until I turn back on before I play it.
Okay.
All right.
Give me a second.
Yeah.
Good night.
Take care, Gas. Great show.
Thank you.
All right.